BWTM Sports Gaming, or BWTM Sports. First and foremost, let's get into this. I'm going to be doing an upgrade to this channel because, like, for the last couple of years, it's needed definitely a redesign, update, whatever you want to call it. It needs it because it hasn't had much love. It's spent so much time abroad, focusing on other things. So I'll give this channel some love, give my gaming channel some love, and we'll see how that goes. All right, now, you know me. Some people call me Nostradamus. I don't know. But I've made a lot of predictions, and a lot of predictions have come to pass. Mike Tyson made his comeback. Um, I talked about the SmackDown versus Raw, Warren versus Hearn getting together and them doing that. We got the 5v5. I think I spoke about it about 5 years ago. But this is something I see that all boxing media, boxing fans, and promoters need to be aware of. This is my suspicion, right? I could be wrong, but I always look at the long term, not just the short term, right? Now, this is me speaking, yeah? These are just my thoughts. If I wanted to build a league and be dominant and have no say or nobody interfering, what I would do is get the promoters together. I'd get them together, I'd get them talking, I'd get them working together. So the two biggest promoters in the UK, let's be honest, are Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn. They're together now. They're working together, right? And we got the 5v5. That 5v5 would never have happened under the previous regime and the way things were before. Now we have 5v5. They're planning to do it again. And people love it. People love the fact that the best are fighting the best, or they're trying to make the best fight the best. One of the biggest problems in boxing, I have to say, WBC, the WBA, the IBF, and WBA, the mandatories, the money that fighters have to pay for to have these belts, and even now, with the first time in how many years since Lennox Lewis we've got undisputed champion, we're already talking about the belts being like split up before the man Usyk can even defend and make a defense of the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. So here's what I would do. I would create a league, the best fighting the best. I would create my own belt, a universal champion, not an undisputed, but a universal champion. You're looking down the WWE, kind of WWF thing now. Maybe two champions, maybe a intercontinental, and then a world champion, like a contender, and so something like that. All three belts, maybe for a prospect title, a contender title, and then the one title, the one belt, like back in Ali's time, where there was just one belt to fight for, right? And then you would fight one another via league to get to become the best fighter in the world, and there'd be no disputes as to who the best in the world is, because nobody would be ducking and hiding or trying to protect. So there'd be less unbeaten records. There'd be less unbeaten records. So you do away with the WBC, WBA, IBF, and IBO. All them belts you do away with. And the way you simply do away to make them irrelevant is by having a league which the fighters are getting paid more money. They don't have to pay sanctioning fees. They're getting a great platform to be on through the Saudis. And that's the way I would do it. And then you wouldn't have to deal with certain promoters. Certain promoters trying to stop fights from happening. Just cut them out of the way. Cut the middleman out of the way. And the Saudis would have direct working with these fighters. So remember how people jump from Hearn to Warren, Warren to Hearn, or jump to Boxer. Now with the Saudis, with the amount of money that they have, they could dominate, literally dominate. And what they also could do is to clean up the boxing media as well, which is what I would do. I would clean up the boxing media to have legit, proper journalists and proper, and I'm not disrespecting anybody here, proper certified media, not just anyone rolling up with a camera and doing interviews, but proper journalist media. Make sure they get paid well as well. And ask the questions that need to be asked. So you have a better. You see how the UFC do it. You see how the UFC do their media and stuff. Maybe they might go. The Saudis go that way, but I can tell you now, a league is coming, a belt is coming, and it will move. I think is going to get rid of all these sanctioning bodies because the Saudis probably come and said, right, we want to do this, 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 and this, but you guys are a pain in the ass. You guys are a pain, and for now we're putting up with you because we're still trying to understand the lay of the land and how everything works. So we've done one of the biggest things so far, which is get Warren and Hearn together. We've done that. Now do the same thing with the Americas. Do the same thing in Africa. Do the same thing in Europe. Now, if the Saudis can get across to Africa as well and get a league in Africa as well, that'd be fantastic. You see Australia is growing as well. India, over there, League India. So you can have a league of fighters even. I just think that this would be the way forward. And they wouldn't have just one promoter or two promoters or three promoters dominating boxing. But what you'd have now is you'd have the Saudis, and then they would employ. Then they would have their team of promoters around the world that work directly for them. Now, a lot of people may say, "Ah, that's not possible." Oh no, it's possible. It's happening. It's happening, and if there's more enough money on the table, it's happening. How did Warren and Hearn get to work together so quickly? Money, and that's what it's about. And the Saudis know that. They're shrewd business people, and they're not going to do something straight. For me, I don't think they're going to do things straight away. They've probably got a 5-year vision, but this is part of that vision. And to build their own league, that's what I think is going to happen. And the best fighters will fight the best fighters in the world. And if you don't want to fight in the league, or your manager doesn't want you to fight in the league, you will be deemed irrelevant in boxing. Nobody's going to be interested in you. Nobody's going to be interested in you. So wait, is coming. You know, people laughing at me before. I can see it. And if I were the Saudis, I would do the same thing. I saw the 5v5, but it wasn't 5v5. I saw SmackDown versus Raw, Eddie Hearn versus Frank Warren. We got it. We got it. And I think also the Saudis, somehow or the other, are going to get the YouTube creators to be more interactive. The promoters in the UK, no disrespect to them, and they've had a level of, we've been in control, we've done this for so long, you can only do this and you can only do this for so long. That is going to get wiped. I just think they're going to get wiped. I really do. They're going to get wiped. And I'll tell you something else as well. When you're getting these 5v5s, which I knew that Frank Warren was going to absolutely destroy Eddie Hearn, because I've been saying it for years. Eddie Hearn's stable is based on accounts, finances, which is not a bad thing. It's show, and the promoter is the head of all that. Whereas Frank is less of the in-your-face promoter, but more of the, he understands. If Matchroom, I can't tell you I like Matchroom because I don't, because the kind of the way the arrogance and the way they've been. But however, putting that aside, I love boxing. If I were Matchroom, I've been saying it to you for years, and you don't listen, and that's why you got absolutely smashed by Frank Warren, absolutely smashed. You know, you put your fighters out there that you've been selling for years, and they, oh, this guy's a good fighter, this guy's a good fighter, this guy's a good fighter, and they all got found out. For the most part, all got found out. I've been telling people years about Herkovich. I warned you about Herkovich. You saw what happened. You know. Because Frank knows how to select his fight. Frank knows his fighters. He knows how to matchmake. If I'm Matchroom, if you really seriously want to get yourself back into this, hire yourself a damn good matchmaker and stop doing this fanboy stuff. Hire yourself a matchmaker. Even the odds up. Because Frank is awesome. So you need to get a matchmaker. Somebody who actually understands boxing, understands matchmaking, and whether the matches are in your favor, because all that happened is like your Matchroom is going to be known for smash and grab, like, you know, get a fighter, put them in a world title fight, they get smashed, they get paid well, and on to the next one. The conveyor belt of guys who I think, had they been matched properly, I think could have been pay-per-view stars today. And even their top fighter, even with Joshua, I mean, suicidal matchmaking caused him to get beat by Andy Ruiz. If they were a little bit more cautious, I said going to America was going to be a disaster. No, no, Joshua going to America is a good thing. I said, no, mate, Joshua's at this point in time, it's not good. It was not good. It was not a good move. You know, for what it was worth fighting Andy Ruiz, it was a dangerous fight. Should never taken the fight. Should have gone to America and fought Trevor Bryant. But pride. Should have fought Trevor Bryant. You know, and even now, even though Joshua's come back now, he's still in the back of his mind, he's still haunted by the Ruiz fight. Now, when I talk about the Usyk fight, I think he would have done better against Usyk had he not got beaten by Ruiz. The switching of trainers and all that stuff. But anyway, find yourself a good matchmaker because you need that. You desperately need that. Desperately. This is not being personal. It's just you desperately need a matchmaker. If you had a matchmaker in your setup, you know, behind the scenes, I don't have to talk too much about him. A person who knows matchmaking and set that matchmaking up, then your fighters, you can start not protecting your fighters, but you can start looking after your fighters better. And you're definitely going to need that coming up now, because with the Saudis, if you can't fight, you're going to get battered, because what they're going to do is put you in against top opposition. You're going to see more and more good fights. You're not going to be able to get away with what we saw yesteryear, where you had a guy who couldn't fight like 20 fights against nobodies and then get exposed on his 21st fight fighting for a world title. We've seen it so many times. Call it car crash matchmaking. It's just, it's not good. So I'm just talking my thoughts. I'm sharing my thoughts. You can listen to me or you don't want to listen to me. It don't make a difference. For me, it's not affecting my business. But I'm telling you all that this is coming. This is coming. And I can't see how 5v5 did good numbers for Matchroom. For Frank, yeah, because everyone's saying, oh, Frank Warren is old, you don't know what he's doing. People are now looking at Frank going, geez, Frank's got a good stable, he's got good fighters. Do you understand? And fighters are seeing how they be managed. If you want to get managed well, you want right matchmaking, you go to Frank. If you want to make quick money and get smashed to bits, you go to Eddie. That's what it is, or that's what it's been. Look at the fighters along the years. Look at Kell Brook going to flip up 2 weight divisions to go and fight Golovkin after fighting Errol Spence. See, or was it the other way around? Whichever way, it wasn't good. There's so many fights I could talk to you about. Just car crashes. Like what? Why is this guy in a world title fight? It's just to honour the contract. It's like, oh, if you don't fight for this world title, then we can't promote you anymore. That sort of stuff. You got to take this opportunity, because it's not you getting in the ring and taking a beating, right? So those are my thoughts on those things. You look at Daniel Dubois now, and he's come back, and he's come back. I always thought that Don Charles and Daniel Dubois would be a good mix, good fit. Always felt it, and it's coming to pass now. So it's not ahead to slam one and do the other, but I just think many times when people saying, when Box Nation opened up, when people said, Frank's going under, Frank's come back, Frank's a survivor, Frank's substance, and if Eddie can learn and get a matchmaker, and he's got so much money, get a decent matchmaker in, mate. Not your pal, get somebody in who really knows boxing, who really understands boxing, who knows the gyms, who knows the fighters, who knows the trainers. Do you understand? It's that little edge you'll hear in the gyms what's going on with the fighters, the fights you should take, fights you should be avoiding, fights that's not quite ready. Because there's a couple of fighters you had, quite a few fighters you've had along the years. I think that had there been better matchmaking, said, well, okay, this fight not now. We could take this fight, but not quite now. Let's not rush this fight. Let's take this fight later on. Like if you had a matchmaker, a proper matchmaker, you would never have taken the Ruiz fight. Absolutely never. I saw the Ruiz fight, and I knew what punch Ruiz was going to catch Joshua with. I knew how the fight would happen. Go back and look at my video on it. I'm not saying I'm Nostradamus, but there's some things you can just see coming. But I can see this league happening. I can see this belt coming. I saw SmackDown versus Raw, which is Eddie versus Frank. I saw them working together. I saw them doing an interview together. All these things I've seen happening. Tyson coming out of retirement and fighting. I I even think there might be, and this is a bit of a stretch out there, right? All those fighters we couldn't see back then. If it's possible, they would do like a over 40s league. So the gloves might be bigger gloves, and to help those fighters that who've not spent their money well, and help invest and give them fights to have. I can see that happening, like a Legends League. I said that Mike Tyson was trying to do it, but I see a Legends League happening as well. I mean, if you got I would rather look. I watched Razor Ruddock fight. Who was Razor Ruddock fighting? Was it James Toney? It might have been James Toney. But it was. I loved the fight. It was a great fight. I mean, they were older, and I appreciate. I said, look, they're not young anymore, but I appreciate watching these two guys fight. These two guys that I grew up watching boxing. To see them fight. They never fought in their prime, but seeing them fight, to be like, I don't like it. Well, I'd rather watch them fight and pay to watch them fight than watch KSI. And no disrespect to KSI, than watch KSI and Misfits. And people tune in every week to watch Misfits. So if you're going to watch Misfits, I'll watch Legends of Boxing and the old Legends fighting. So they're all around the same age group and they're fighting. Do you understand? Your 3-rounders, 2-minute rounds. And I think even with women's boxing, what may end up happening is the style just take up 3 minutes. Weight is coming. So if people sit down, want to stay there, stay being arrogant and staying, oh well, we're the top of this and the top of that, you get wiped out real quickly. With that, you've got to be ready to adjust. That's what I can see happening. But let's wait and see. All right, I'm out of here. Hope you all are well and having a great Friday. Take care.